plaintiff, Dewan Everett, says he and the defendant dated on and off for 20 years. And during that time, she was extremely jealous and violent. Dewan claims the defendant not only pulled a knife on him, but she also kicked him in the groin. And then she had him falsely arrested. He's suing for stolen money, a bail bond, and emotional distress. Defendant Janae Ransom says she and Dewan have not been on and off for the past 20 years. Because Dewan was incarcerated for 17 years, Janae says she had Dewan arrested after he slapped her, threw her on the ground like a rag doll, and then slammed her into a truck. She's countersuing for rent, car damage, and emotional distress.
Start with you.
Your Honor, me and Janae been together for like 20 years on and off. The last 2 years, I thought that, maybe we can take our relationship to the next level. I didn't realize how crazy she was. But I was blinded by love. And stuff.
When did you find out? Go ahead.
Well, it was like, she was always do crazy. If things don't go her way, she'll catch attention tantrums. She started false arguments. She started false fights. Like, for example, my phone go off, she always grabbing it. Text message, who's that? You know what I'm saying?
You grab his phone?
My family member come over.
Phone when it rang?
No.
Okay.
My family member come over. What they doing over here? Why they want? What's going on with that? Why they got to do this? I said, dang, hold on. But like, just to keep things down, calm. I try to solve the issue. Like, okay, well, I get them up out of here. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't got to hear that.
That was a lot of drama for 20 years. You put up with
like
that?
Like I said, on and off. But like I said, the last 2 years, I want to take it to the next level. So whatever, try to make her happy. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm blinded by love. Try to keep things to a bare minimum. So now January the 26th, Sunday, we did get into it. We had an argument, which I'm not a woman beater. So we did have a dispute. You know what I'm saying? We got into a pushing match or whatever. She kicked me in the groin, slapped me and all that. I pushed her down and stuff like that. Get up off of me and stuff like that.
She couldn't have kicked you in the groin.
Why she couldn't?
And you pushed her. Doesn't go like that, Doc. Now I know you're lying.
No, I did push.
You can't push anybody if you've been kicked in the groin. All you can do is fold over in pain. Either that or she missed.
There you go. It was right there, close to it right there, Your
Go
Honor.
ahead.
It was close right there to it. So,
That was the extent of the violence, though?
that was about the extent of the violence. No black eyes, no broken bones, and no...
Did you hit her with your fists?
No, I did not.
Did you do anything other than push her away from you, sir?
No, not that I can recall,
right.
no.
Uh-oh.
Not that I can recall. It just push, but I know it wasn't no broken
Not
bones.
that I can
know it wasn't
recall.
no black eyes and nothing like that, Your Honor.
That was the only assault you all engaged in?
Well, she pulled knives and all kind of stuff out on me, so...
Were you ever the aggressor toward her in those 20 years physically?
Yeah, I think I have.
How often?
Not very often. It's like probably maybe once or twice or something like that.
Over the course of the 20 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep, Your Honor.
All right.
But like I said...
Let me get some background from you, ma'am.
Your Honor, Mr. Everett is a liar, a deceiver, and a manipulator. Okay, as far as 20 years, he was incarcerated for 17 of those years, so we actually only had 2 years together. 4 years before he was incarcerated together, okay?
Sir, were you incarcerated 17 of the 20 years you're talking about?
Yes, because we still on it.
Thank you.
We still on it off.
Okay, can I finish, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Your Honor, we was totally off, for the simple fact is, I only visited him twice. Okay, so we were off, and I wrote it in a letter that we were off. I was dating someone.
Ma'am, let's move on. It's clear that you all didn't have as much as he thought for 20 years if he was incarcerated for 17.
For the 2 years that we were together, when he did come home, Mr. Everett did do domestic violence to me on 7/2013. He was very angry. He was very just hyper, because we was finna have sex. And I told him no, and I didn't want to do it. And he slapped me.
How long had he been out of prison, man?
How long he had been out of prison? At least
he should have been used to not having sex.
Right, so
I guess.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right, he was home at least 4 months. Thank you. Nah. Thank you.
I guess, I don't know. Go ahead. But you say in this instance he got very upset because you wouldn't.
Because I wasn't.
And what happened?
And then after that, he choked me, he slapped me. So I left, I went to the hospital, and I had a report made.
Did you? Do you have that today?
Yes.
Did this happen, sir?
She said it did.
And now you're laughing about it. See, I was going to try to take it easy on you, sir.
No.
But now you're laughing about the allegation that you sent her to the hospital. Go ahead, ma'am.
In January 2014, me and Mr. Everett went to church. We got out of church. We resided at the home that we stayed at. We got into a flare-up there. Then he took me to his stepfather's house, and this is where he, big as he is, acted crazy and very abusive and was asking me, oh, this what you want? Is this what you want? And I'm like, why is this what I want? So we did tussle. No, I did not kick him in the drawings or whatever. He picked me up like I was a rag doll and threw me to the ground. And once he threw me to the ground, he had his hand around my neck, finna punch me, but he didn't. Picked me back up off the ground, Your Honor, and slammed me into my own truck, Your Honor, numerous times in a closed garage. Don't you dare lie like that.
Let her finish.
And then after that, Your Honor, we went to my mother's home. I got in the car. I felt like a hostage. Went to my mother's home. That's where the police was called, and I have a report for that, too.
All right. And what was the result of these police reports?
Well, at the time, they...
Charged?
Yeah, it was charged on this.
He was charged?
Yes.
And what was the result of those charges?
The result of those charges is that he pleaded not guilty at first. Then when we came back to court, he pleaded guilty, and they gave him... he had a year probation and then 26 weeks of going to some classes in drug and alcohol.
He wasn't sentenced to any jail time?
No.
Because she's making up stuff.
Quiet, sir. Well, if she made up stuff, why did you admit assaulting her? And this is the second time she went to the authorities on you.
Mr. Everett did do domestic violence to me on 7/2013. He was very angry because we was finna have sex. And I told him no, and I didn't want to do it. And he slapped me.
How long had he been out of prison, man?
How long he had been out of prison? At least
he should have been used to not having sex.
Right, so
I guess.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right, it was about...
Plaintiff DeJuan Everett is suing his ex-girlfriend, who claims she had DeJuan arrested after he choked her, threw her on the ground, and slammed her into a truck.
And often they do accept a plea to a lesser charge because he's going to tell me all he did was push you, and that's why he pled guilty, because he didn't want to worry that the jury or judge would convict him of all the things you said, but he did push you, and he was guilty of that. That's why he only got probation. That's why he only got anger management. He got anger management and probation because the justice system keeps failing these women. I think you should have gotten some jail time. Now, you probably stayed in there waiting on your bond. How long did he stay in jail before they gave him a bond?
He stayed in there 3 weeks crying like a baby.
But he did, crying like a baby, but nonetheless, that was bond. That wasn't part of the sentence. The sentence was anger management.
Right.
You tell me what happened with these assaults, and then we'll get to the money you're suing about. You've been convicted of one. That's the one I want to hear about primarily.
All right, well, I did shove her down. I did push her down. I did shove her. But choking and slapping and all of that, no, I did not do any of those things, Your Honor.
Yes, he did.
Now, if I was that much...
So she called the police on you for pushing her.
No, I shoved her. And not only that, Your Honor.
We got what happened, and I made my point. You should have gotten some time, whether it's 30, 60, 90 days. What are you suing her for on stolen money and bail?
Correct, Your Honor.
Tell me how she owes you.
First of all, Your Honor, when they came and arrested me in my bed, in my house, she was laying next to me, and the arresting officer said, we got a warrant for your arrest. They came and arrested me. She had all my wallet, my ID, my bank card, all of that other stuff when they came and arrested me. And when I got arrested, I told my job I'm arrested. They said they'd send my checks to my house. Okay, so they sent 2 checks out to my house. And when they sent my checks to the house, she, I guess, allegedly opened them up, signed them, deposited in the bank account, withdraw them without none of my knowledge. Or the
key word is allegedly. So
no, she did it.
Okay.
All right, didn't say that.
She did it. Ain't no she
well,
did
you
it.
said allegedly. Don't get so emphatic with me.
She did
Come on, ain't no allegedly. You said allegedly.
Because she's the only one had my bank card.
How were you able to prove that she did it?
Oh, I got my bank records right here.
All right, buddy.
Give all of
Ma'am,
all
did
this
you
up
cash
here.
his checks
I
without
cashed-
his permission?
I cashed his checks with his permission, and
Oh,
I have
gee,
a
I ain't
witness.
get-
Quiet, sir.
I have a witness, and I have a witness statement.
All right, well, they were there? How
Yes,
how
they
do I
were.
know he gave permission
He gave
from this
permission.
witness statement?
Okay. He called from jail numerous of times on my cell phone, and I put it on speaker, and the landlord
All
and my
right, so why did he want you to cash his check?
to bail him out.
And that's what you did with the money?
No, because the police said if I bail him out, they'll turn me around.
All right,
at the
so
door.
what did you do with the money?
Pay the rent.
All right, so that's not what he authorized you to do with the money. By your own admission, he authorized you to use the money to bail him out. Instead, you used it for something else. Now, how does she owe you for bail bond, sir?
Because I had to beg and plead with my uncle to get bail me out, because as soon as I get out, I'll reimburse him with the $500. So he'd get me out. And when I got home, I had to wait. This pain and suffering at the same time for the 2 weeks that I had to wait for my uncle to bail
So
me
how
out.
does she owe you for bail bond?
Because she had my money.
Okay, because you couldn't bail yourself out with the money she had taken. That's why you're suing her?
Yes.
Okay, but if you get your money back, then you'd have no claim
Right.
about the bail bond.
Correct.
Now, your emotional distress, how does she owe you for that?
Because I was still in there for another 2 weeks in there, and I lost my job at the same time, because that's the whole purpose.
Sir, she has no obligation to get you
I
out.
lost my, that's what I'm saying, I lost
That
my
didn't happen.
job.
You shouldn't
Your
have pushed her, shoved her. That's what caused your problem. She didn't do anything. You admittedly shoved her. Now, your counterclaim for $5,000 for rent, car damage, and emotional distress.
My counterclaim is because when Mr. Everett was home, when he was at home when we was together.
What time
for
frame?
October 2012 to 2014, $125 for 18 months for rent that I paid.
How much did he pay?
None.
Sir?
She lying because that's not even her house. That was my mama's house. I was
That's not
my
his
mama and my
mother's house?
stepdaddy house.
No,
she
it's
got
not.
it right
Who
now.
owns
She's
it?
still in there. I can't
Who
even go
owns
back
the
home.
house?
I can't even go back home.
Giles'
She's
home.
living in
Who
there
was
now.
that?
Mr. Giles was his dead deceased mother's
Gotcha.
boyfriend.
All right.
She's been dead for
Got
6
it.
months.
In essence, it was your relative's home.
My people's
Now, your
house.
car damage, how does he owe you for car damage,
Well, the
ma'am?
wear and tear, me taking him around when he was on the teller to find him a job. The car broke down.
Who was driving?
He was.
Oh my
He was
God.
driving your car.
Yeah, he drove
and
on
it
it.
Say
broke
where
down.
your
Quiet,
shoes
sir. And what was the cause?
And the cause was fuel pump. He put sugar in my tank. He stole my plate off my car. He took the centerpieces off my car.
Sir,
and I got
did
proof
any
for
of
that.
this happen?
I got
I
proof.
don't
Do
know.
you
I
have-
didn't do it.
I
Do
got
you have
proof.
any evidence? How can you prove he did these things? Did it break down while you were driving,
No.
sir? Let me see what she
I
has,
have
please.
I have the plate that came from my mother's house back to his house.
Because we've already proven, sir, that you're not 100% honest. And
And I have a police report.
so I'm inclined to believe her word.
I was still in there for another 2 weeks in there, and I lost my job at the same time, because that's the whole purpose.
Sir, she has no obligation to get you
I
out.
lost my, that's what I'm saying, I
That
lost
don't
my
have-
job.
you shouldn't have pushed her, shoved her. That's what caused your problem. She didn't do anything.
Plaintiff DeJuan Everett is suing his ex-girlfriend, who claims she had DeJuan arrested after he choked her, threw her on the ground, and slammed her into a truck.
But ma'am, fuel filter and all that, I don't see anything that says your truck had or your car had sugar in the tank.
Well, they made a mistake on there. It's supposed to be.
No, I don't make no mistake. Nope, nope, nope,
It's
nope,
supposed
nope.
to be fuel
I
lines,
understand.
fuel
Doesn't
pump.
say that.
Okay.
Go back and get the mistake corrected from
Okay.
the mechanic and then
Okay.
come back. This only costs $200. But believe me, if you had sugar in the tank of your car, it would cost more than that. I don't know who had the sugar in their tank, but it wasn't you. It wasn't your car.
Well, it did.
How long after he got out of prison did this sugar in the tank show up? I will leave
This
that
was before
alone.
he went to
Ma'am,
prison.
the emotional distress is for the assault I believe occurred. I will grant you $2,000 for that, $200 for the damage to the car, which is what what the mechanic says it costs, and I'm not going to grant you rent. I don't believe he agreed to pay you rent in his relative's home. I'll grant you, sir, your $1,040 for the money she took from you. You told her to spend it on your bail. She admittedly spent it on something other than that. $1,040 for you, $2,200 for you, ma'am. How much does that leave her with?
$1,160.
That's your judgment, ma'am. Have a good day.
Whatever. I'm glad this is over. I got closure in my life. I'm a happy married woman now, and hopefully he can move on and leave me alone for the record forever until eternity, till he go on the ground.